In this video, I'm going to be talking about why my oil paintings look like this before they change into that. So this brown-orange sketch-like painting is called an underpainting. It is an important step in the process of creating a painting. Some of you might ask, why do I spend time in this underpainting when it will be covered later anyway? Well, in my opinion, it can really be helpful to create shadows, depth and contrast for your work and give you a guide for tonal values. For me, the underpainting is kind of a block-in stage of my paintings to establish the overall light, medium and dark values before applying color to my artwork. If you want, it's basically a pre-sketch to map out where everything will go. So I get an idea of how my final artwork will look like even before having used colors. The underpainting is the very first thing I do when starting a new oil painting after having transferred the basic lines from my sketch with pencils. I also have to say that an underpainting is not necessary, but I have just found out for myself that I prefer this way of starting a piece. Another reason why I use this technique is that I prefer painting on a toned canvas instead of a plain white one. One thing that is really important to keep in mind is that the color of the underpainting will influence the whole painting, even though oil colors are quite opaque. I mainly use burnt sienna for my underpaintings as it's a warm and natural color and I want to emphasize the warmth in my paintings. Burnt sienna is also a complementary color to cooler tones as blue and green, and the complements of colors are going to desaturate each other when layering or mixing them. The result is a more neutral color, which leads to a more realistic look of the final piece. The most commonly used colors for underpaintings are burnt sienna, Mars brown, burnt umber and raw umber. For night scenes I use cooler colors such as ultramarine blue, but I've also seen artists use super vibrant pinks or something more turquoise for darker and cooler artworks. To sum this up, I have found out that burnt sienna gives my final paintings a lot of luminosity compared to artworks where I haven't made an underpainting. I also like the fact that I can work on a toned surface and I actually see the final painting with all the highlights and the shadows, the values, without even having started using colors. So that's basically everything that I can tell you about underpaintings and the reasons why I think they are really useful for oil paintings, but you can also use them for acrylics. And again, underpaintings are not necessary, so you can make them, you don't have to, but I think it's a really helpful guide. The rest of the video is the painting progress of my morning in Hobbiton oil painting, so enjoy! we're now at the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. So I'm really happy with the result, especially with the sun shining through the tree. And the painting actually took me a little longer than I expected because I added some more 3D structure and layers of thick oil paint. The leaves of that tree were a bit of a challenge because I usually don't paint trees that big. So I usually use just a van brush to dab in the leaves. And these leaves had to be more detailed. And what was the most difficult part of that painting? Well,
that'll be the door.
Exactly. Because you have to consider the perspective and the lights and shadows and everything. So this was kind of tricky. So thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, you know what to do. So in the meantime, Millie and I will go outside because the sun is shining. Bye bye! See you next video!